There is a particular kind of regret that never leaves a person. The regret of discovering the truth after it's too late. For 20 years, Emily Harrison believed she knew exactly who destroyed her family. A woman she blamed. A woman she resented. A woman she spent most of her life refusing to love. And when her father died, she walked into a room expecting that woman to take everything. The money. The estate. The inheritance. Instead, a single recording exposed a secret so heartbreaking that it turned a family villain into a family hero, and left a daughter questioning everything she thought she knew about love. This is the story of a stepmother whose greatest sacrifice remained hidden for 20 years. Like and subscribe. Stepmother's secret finally came out. The rain hammered against the windows of the old family mansion as the relatives gathered in silence. No one wanted to be there. Not because of the weather. Because of the woman sitting at the far end of the room. Her name was Margaret. For 20 years, she had been known as the cruel stepmother who entered the family shortly after the death of Robert Harrison's first wife. People whispered about her. They accused her of taking advantage of a grieving widower. They blamed her for the distance that grew between Robert and his only daughter, Emily. Even Emily hated her. At 24 years old, Emily had spent most of her life believing Margaret had stolen her father away. Now Robert was gone. A heart attack had ended the life of one of the city's most respected businessmen. And everyone had come for the reading of his will. Emily sat with folded arms, refusing to even look at Margaret. She expected the woman to inherit everything. After all, that's what stepmothers in stories always did. The family lawyer cleared his throat. Mr. Harrison left specific instructions that every member of the family must remain until the entire document has been read. The room became quiet. The lawyer opened the envelope. Robert's voice had also been recorded. The old man's voice filled the room. "If you are hearing this, then I am no longer with you." Emily lowered her eyes. Tears appeared immediately. "I know many of you believe things about my wife Margaret." Several relatives exchanged glances. Robert continued. "And today, I want the truth to be known." Margaret looked down at her hands. For the first time, Emily noticed they were trembling. The lawyer pressed play. When Emily was 9 years old, doctors discovered a serious illness that required expensive treatment. Emily frowned. She remembered being sick. But she never knew how serious it had been. "The treatment cost more than I could afford at the time." The room listened carefully. "I was ready to sell the company." Emily's eyes widened. The company was now worth millions. Selling it would have destroyed everything. Then Robert continued. Margaret secretly sold every piece of jewelry she owned. The room froze. She sold the house she inherited from her parents. Emily slowly turned toward her stepmother. And she worked 2 jobs for 3 years to help pay for Emily's treatment. A shocked silence spread across the room. Emily stared at Margaret. "What?" Margaret closed her eyes. Tears rolled down her cheeks. The recording continued. "I begged her to tell Emily the truth." Robert's voice cracked. But she refused. The room remained motionless. She said a child should never feel indebted for being loved. Emily's heart pounded. Suddenly, memories returned. Margaret always leaving home before sunrise. Coming home exhausted. Wearing the same old clothes year after year. Never buying anything for herself. Emily had never questioned it. She had simply assumed Margaret was strange. The recording wasn't finished. "There is something else." The lawyer looked around the room. Several relatives leaned forward. 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer." Gasps filled the room. Emily nearly stood up. Cancer. Her father had never told her. The treatment succeeded because Margaret donated part of her liver when doctors found a compatible match. Emily felt her legs weaken. She turned toward Margaret again. The woman could no longer stop crying. Every accusation. Every insult. Every cold look Emily had given her. Margaret had endured all of it without defending herself. The recording ended with Robert's final words. "Emily, if I have one final request, it is this." The room fell silent. "Please forgive the woman who spent 20 years loving you without asking for anything in return." Emily broke down. For years she had carried anger. For years she had blamed the wrong person. Slowly, she stood up. Margaret remained seated. Unable to look at her. Ashamed. Broken. Emily walked across the room. Every eye followed her. Then she dropped to her knees. "I'm sorry." Margaret looked up. Emily was crying uncontrollably. "I'm so sorry." For a moment neither woman spoke. Then Margaret wrapped her arms around Emily. And after 20 years of misunderstanding, they cried together like mother and daughter. The lawyer cleared his throat once more. "There is one final instruction." Everyone looked toward him. Robert's last message was simple. "Everything I own will be divided equally between Emily and Margaret." Some relatives looked disappointed. Others nodded. But neither Emily nor Margaret cared about the money anymore. Because something far more valuable had been returned that day. The truth. And for the first time in 20 years, they became a real family. Like and subscribe, comment. Moral of the story: sometimes the people who love us the most are the ones whose sacrifices we never see. Truth may take years to emerge, but when it does, it has the power to heal even the deepest wounds.